Hey, making a quick video here with you guys to show you how to do the cutting boards that you're doing on VCarve. So first thing you need to do on your computer is find where you have the VCarve uh, account or the software. So here it is. So you're going to double click it to open it up. And then from here, you're going to create a new file. So you click here where it says create new file. So what we need to do is we need to set the parameters for our cutting board. So the cutting board that I made is going to be 9 inches wide by 11 inches tall. Sorry, 8 inches wide by 11 inches tall. It's very important that you know the exact measurements. And my cutting board is going to be a ½ inch thick, so I have to set that stuff up. Something else to make sure you have set up properly down here where you have the datum position, make sure it's in the bottom left corner. That's really our origin. We want our offset to be 0, 0 in the bottom left corner. From there, we hit OK. So while we're working here, I'm going to move myself. Ooh, how about down here? We're going to have to start by creating a trench and then creating a hole. So let's go ahead and create our trench for our board. I'm going to click up here where it says rectangle. And the first thing we have to do is make sure that we have our anchor point in the center. So we're going to use our cursor to find where the center is on our piece here, where the two lines intersect there. And you can see it's 4 for X and 5.5 for Y. So let me go and change that to 4 and 5.5. And then from here now, we're just going to have to put in our width and our height. So we want to go 1 inch in from our original dimensions. So again, I said that mine is 8 inches wide, so 1 inch in would be 7 inches. And we want 1 inch in from the height. It's 11 inches tall, so we're going to go in 1 inch at 10 inches. And from here then, I want to kind of look at my corners. I could either have a straight corner where there's no rounded piece. Let me show you what that is when I click create. I could have a radius external, so that's going to round it off, and I usually always set it at a 1/4 inch. It would look like this. You can kind of see the little rounded corner. Or you have an external where you can change different dimensions. Let's just, for wildness, let's do 1/2 inch. And you could have it kind of cut inward. So it looks like that. So you can kind of pick which one you like the most. I'm going to click close, and we can look at each one individually. So if I'm going to want to look at the external one, this is what the external one looks like. And you know what? I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do just real quick is I'm going to delete these. So you click on the line, you click delete on your keyboard, click on the line, click delete. I'm going to go back to the rectangle one, and I'm going to just pick that one. So I'm going to click create, and there it is. That's all you need to do. So we're going to do a 1/4 inch trench. So that's all you need to do is just the line. Next, I'm going to click close. Next, we're going to create our hole that all the food's going to fall in. So you can pick a lot of different designs. I'm going to go with a real simple one. We're just going to go with a circle. So I'm going to click on circle. Again, we want the center point to be the same. So that's 4 and 5.5. And then we have to determine how big of a hole we want, and I always use diameter. So looking at our board, we know it's 8 inches across, but we just cut off 1 inch on both sides for our trench, so that's 6. So we want a hole that's going to be less than 6. I think 3 inches is probably good. We can even go as high as 4. So I'll go to 4 inches and click create, and there's our hole. Now you're looking at that and going, that's really big, it's in the center. Center's not a problem, we can move it, but that is pretty big. So let's go ahead and cut that down to 2.5 and click create. That hole looks a little better. I think a lot of the food you're chopping up can fit within a 2.5 inch hole, no problem. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to get rid of the big one by clicking on it, click delete. And let's find where we want to put this hole. We can move it around anywhere, so I'm going to click on it and use the arrows on my keyboard, and we're just going to move it to one of the corners. That looks good. Give it some space in between so the bit can do its thing and not overlap. All right, now all we got to do is set the tool paths. So since it's highlighted, let's go ahead and set the tool path for our cutout piece. So we're going to go over here where it says tool paths, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to go down here to this one, which is a pocket tool path. First thing we have to do is make sure we have the right tool. If yours doesn't say end mill 1/4 inch, then you have to go here to select and find the right tool. We want an end mill 1/4, so whatever it is, change it to that and hit select. I got 2 now, so I'll just remove that one. I'm going to move myself over. Whoa. click back on toolpath. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have this named as hole. And we want to make sure the depth is deep enough down that it's going to cut out our wood. So if we look down here, the depth of the wood that I'm making is a 1/2 inch cutting board. So I'm going to do 0.55, just a little more than 1/2 inch so it cuts all the way through. When I hit calculate, it's going to say, warning, hey, you're going to cut through your project. We do want that to happen, so we're going to hit OK. So now if I click back on toolpath, I can hit play, and you'll see that it will cut it out. Okay. Next, we're going to click back on the 2D view, and now we're going to click on that trench line that we made. And we're going to go to toolpaths, and we're going to close out whatever we have here. And now this time we're going to go to a profile toolpath. So we click on profile. First thing we want to see is that we have an end mill 1/4 inch. Again, if we don't have an end mill 1/4 inch, click select, go here and pick it, and then hit select. Okay. Now that we got that, we're going to click back on toolpath, and we're going to make sure it cuts deep. I don't need 0.6, just 0.55, just enough that it goes right over the edge of the wood and cuts into this cut off piece of wood we have in the bottom so it doesn't ruin our machine. Now this one I'm going to rename trench. I'm going to hit calculate. Yes, I know it's going to cut through. Oops, sorry. I made a mistake here. I do not want this one to cut through. So I'm going to double click on trench. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry. So what I want to do is set this one to just 0.15. 0.15. We don't want it to cut through. We just want it to go deep enough that it creates a trench so any liquids don't fall off the cutting board while you're using it. So I totally made that mistake, but now I fixed it. So 0.15, hit calculate. Now if I hit play, we'll be able to see where the trench is going to cut. And if I use the mouse and bend it around, you can see where that trench is. Okay, just a small trench, just 1/1500ths of an inch thick. All right, so now that we have everything there, before we move on, we want to make sure we do this one important thing. We're going to go up here in the top where it says File. We're going to click Save As. We're going to save it on the desktop so that Mr. Harris and I can come back and check your items if need be. And we're just going to give it our last name, so Singer, and then what product this is, which is a cutting board. Singer cutting board. And I always make my names one whole word and then a capital letter each time. I use kind of a camel case algorithm or pattern there. So I'm going to hit save. Now I know that my file is saved on the computer in case anything happens. From here then, Mr. Harrison and I can give you a flash drive, and you're going to save your item on that flash drive so we can take it over to the CNC machine and cut it. So to set this up for us, you're going to click Toolpaths. So it highlights both things here. We're going to click Close, and we're going to click the Save button, the old floppy disk. So we'll click Save. We'll make sure that we have Shark, CNC Shark, USB, and inch highlighted. And now that we have that, we know it's going to be a .tap file, which is what we need. And we can save that toolpath then onto the flash drive that we provide you. Okay? If you want, before we get over to you, before we save this in the flash drive, you could save this on the desktop. Just again, change the name to Singer Cutting Board. And you can see that it comes up already down here as a .crv, but that's okay. This is going to be a .tap file, and I can save it there. And that'll help us save some time. We're probably going to want to go check your work anyways to make sure it's good, but we are going to be doing this for you. Okay, good luck. Follow this video, stop, rewind, do whatever you got to do to make sure you use this video as a good resource to you. If you got any questions, come see myself or Mr. Harris.